Hey there guys, this is Robin Hood, and today I'm going to be bringing you another replay here in Total War Rome 2. On my last video, someone commented that they would like to see me play as the Getae. I think I'm pronouncing that right, I'm not sure though. But anyways, someone requested I play as this faction, and I went ahead and jumped into a 1 versus 1 match, quick battle, and use them. So my opponent's going to be Marble Ear here, playing as Rome, and we'll take a look at the replay. You can see my army here. I had not actually used this faction before. I know I'd looked at them, but like I said, I haven't played the game all that much recently, so it was a little bit interesting to use some of these. Some of the barbarian factions are a little bit harder to build armies with just because of their unit selection. And you can see Rome here. It's not a very diverse, but very, very tough infantry corps there, with all those Evocati cohort. Anyways though, here we'll take a look at my army. Up front, I have got 4 of these Dacian heavy bowmen, and these guys are pretty good, got solid missile damage on them and everything. And this really is actually an advantage for me. My opponent has no skirmishing. Of course, the Roman troops are very heavily armored, so skirmishers aren't going to do that much, especially if he gets into my lines quickly, but this is something that I can make use of that my opponent does not have. Behind them I have 2 of these spear warriors, and these guys are decently cheap spear units, just more to deter cavalry charges. They've got a bonus versus large of 25 though, so this is not something you want to get into a cavalry fight. And then I've got 2 more of them, 1 on either flank. And then for my actual infantry corps on my right flank, I've got 3 of these mercenary axe warriors. And if you look at my formation, I've got them kind of stacked over here on the right. These guys are not that great, and they are pretty cheap units. Now, obviously, their stats aren't terrible, but against the Evocati cohort and Praetorian Guard Rome is bringing, these guys will get cut down really, really quickly. Now, the reason I brought them is because, once again, they were cheaper. The Getae don't really have that much of a unit selection, at least for melee infantry. They've got a lot of good spear units, but these guys are decently fast because they're not too heavy of a unit, and they're definitely faster than the Roman troops, so I'm going to use them to try to maneuver around the right flank. And then my main sword corps is 3 of these noble swords, one of which is my general, and these guys are very sturdy, solid units. Not quite a match for the Praetorian Guard, but they are definitely very, very tough sword units. And then for my cavalry, I've got 2 of these noble horsemen. Now these guys are a big advantage for me because Rome has 4 of the Socii Equites, and these guys, aside from looking awesome, they're a decent unit, decent shock cavalry unit, but they are nowhere near the caliber of these noble horsemen. Of course, he has 4 though, and I only have 2 there. And then I have also got 2 spear horsemen in the woods here. These guys are melee cavalry, and they're pretty darn good units. Once again, not quite as good as some others, but these guys will do well, especially fighting infantry. So real quickly here, I'm going to pause this. You can see Rome is advancing here in this kind of blocky formation, all of these Evocati cohort, and these guys are terrifying units. You can see their stats on the left there, 61 melee attack. These guys have ridiculous stats for their cost. They're pretty much, in my opinion, the best sword unit in the game. Obviously there's some units that can beat them, but not for the cost of the unit. These guys are very cheap for their statistics, and oftentimes when you fight Rome you're going to be seeing them. But he's got like 5 or 6 of those, and a few, I think he has 6 Evocati cohort and 2 Praetorian Guard. Now over here, cavalry fight's about to engage. We'll actually watch this charge in slow motion, because why not? Boom, all those guys hitting. Both me and my opponent got off trample charges there, I believe. Yep. And of course my cavalry's going to get the better end of that just from being a higher caliber unit there. and same deal over here. So I blocked 2 of his units. He's still got 2 units roaming. Now what I did is I am pulling over one of my spear warriors from behind my lines, as well as 1 spear horseman. The other one's kind of hanging out in the middle here, and they're going to advance forward while they can. And now this here is something I didn't want to do. My 1 spear horseman unit is going to get wrecked because they are getting trample charged here by a shot cavalry unit, and that is going to deal massive damage. I lost almost 20 guys to them losing 1. So that unit's pretty much going to go down, but I had to block that cavalry charge long enough for my spears to get over here and ward off these other units, because I need my noble horsemen to survive. And over here getting off a rear charge with my other spear horsemen, and that's going to start wrapping up the cavalry fight here. And you can see my 1 unit routed. I've got some spears over here though. There's still the Getae Equites free in my back. I'm sending other units after them, and I'm going to pop an anti-cavalry tactics on these spear warriors. So the cavalry fight's going to wrap up here pretty soon now, especially with my spears in there. Meanwhile, in the front, my archers are still firing. They're not doing that much damage, once again, because the Romans are heavily armored. I had to pull them back. And this here, these 2 spear warrior units, I have put them in shield wall. They will get absolutely decimated by Evocati cohort over time, and they're going to get little to no kills. But they're going to hold. They're going to hold very well for quite a while. And that is really what I needed them to do. I needed to tie down this Roman infantry. There's not a whole lot I can really do to beat this Roman infantry without my cavalry, because it's just better than pretty much everything I have on the field. Now meanwhile, over here, I ran around the right flank with my mercenary axe warriors here, getting a rear charge on Praetorian Guard. Gonna do some damage. I've got them tied down with spear warriors in the front. These guys will be able to fight their way out of it though. And this other unit of mercenary axe warriors of mine, you can see their numbers dropping quickly. They don't stand a chance against these Evocati cohort, but again, they're just holding them in place. Meanwhile, I've got 1 more unit kind of running around in the back. I've also beefed up the front of my assault with my noble swords, and these guys will do fine. The Evocati cohort will be able to damage them quite a bit, but it's not going to be anything like fighting my axe warriors. Nowhere near as one-sided there. Noble swords are a very sturdy unit, and you can see here, while these Praetorian Guard have their back turned, I'm trying to get some archer volleys into them. So my cavalry has won its fight. Here getting a rear charge on these Evocati cohort. And I'm shuffling around my other guys, also bringing over the spear warriors, but all the Roman cavalry is gone from the field. My archers are still firing in here, trying to do some damage to these Praetorians. And here, this was really, really good for me. My mercenary axe warriors, those Praetorians shuffled to fight off my cavalry. That opened up the back to this charge from these mercenary axe warriors. And now the Romans here are sandwiched between them and my noble swords. And that is not a place they want to be. You can see these guys are going to start dropping quickly. Some of the combat going on in there. Yeah, there goes some Roman troops. So these guys in the middle are going to rout. That pretty much wraps up the middle of the fight for me. And still here, these spear warriors still managing to hold. Right now, actually, they are disengaged from these Evocati cohort. Look at that. That's hilarious. Just right down the middle. Just kind of staring at each other a few feet away. But this Praetorian Guard is getting sandwiched by my cavalry. They're actually going to be able to fight their way out of it, kill off this spear horseman unit, and I'm going to save my noble horse. This spear warrior unit is coming into the fight over here. Once again, these Praetorian Guard down here, like I said, they are going to fight their way out of the rear charge from the mercenary axe warriors. They're just a much better unit. And you can see them going down there, and I've got these spear warriors here who were fighting some guys. I need to send them into this fight. Micro-lapse right there. But pretty much everywhere the Romans are now being surrounded. Here these Praetorians are chasing after my archers, but my guys are going to be able to avoid them, and you can see cutting those guys down with arrows. That's going to be what routs them there. This Evocati cohort still holding decently strong, but my cavalry doing charges to the rear of them. And now I have more mercenary axe warriors in the fight there. And again, the last unit really fighting here is these Praetorian Guard, of which I have now got my Noble Swords, my General's unit, fighting them. And the Praetorians are a better unit, but at this point the loss of the rest of their army is going to cause the morale penalty that will rout them. So there you guys go. That was using the Getae against Rome. Very Pyrrhic victory here. You can see I actually lost one more soldier than I killed. Killed 962, lost 963. Very, very costly battle. The key, honestly, was winning the cavalry fight and getting that maneuvering, because the Roman infantry, over time, without those morale penalties and the rear charges, would have just been able to plow through my men. These spear warriors, though, it was these few units that got, like, little to no kills. This one was the one in the cavalry fight. Again, they got almost no kills, but to me they were definitely worth the cost because they just held for such a long time. They held up much more expensive infantry and allowed me the time to win that cavalry fight and come over and end up getting into the rear of my opponent's army, which obviously there led to the victory. But anyways, hope you all enjoyed that. Since I'm doing it, if there's any other factions you'd like to see me play as, just put it in the comments. Anyways, I will see you all next time with more. Thank you for watching.